Hi, kids. My name is Justin, and today I'm going to be reading you two of my favorite books from self isolation here in St. John, New Brunswick. The first book that I'm going to be reading to you today is one of my all time favorite books. It's so much my favorite that this is actually the original copy that I had as a little girl, little boy, whatever you think I am, you're probably right. Anyhow, this is one of my favorite books. It is by Dr. Seuss, and it is called If I Ran the Circus. And I have to say, I would love to run a circus. I run my own drag shows, so that's pretty close to a circus. There's still lots of clowns. So If I Ran the Circus by Dr. Seuss. Circus, McGurkus, McGurkus. I ran the circus. So the dedication says, "This book is for my dad, Big Ted Springfield, the finest man I'll ever know." Really nice that he dedicated his book to his dad. In all the whole town, the most wonderful spot is behind Sneelock's store in the big vacant lot. It's just the right spot for my wonderful plans, said young Morris McGurk, if I clean up the cans. Now, a fellow like me, said young Morris McGurk, could get rid of this junk with a half hour's work. I could yank up those weeds and chop down the dead tree and haul off those old cars. There are just two or three. And then the whole place would be ready, you see. There's Sneelock's store, and there's a big empty lot, lots of garbage. So let's see. All ready to put up the tents for my circus. I think that I'll call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the world's greatest show on the face of the earth or wherever you go. Much like my drag shows. When you're old enough, you can come see one. The Circus McGurkus, the cream of the cream. The Circus McGurkus, the circus supreme. The Circus McGurkus, colossal, stupendous, astounding, fantastic, terrific, tremendous. I'll bring in my acrobats, jugglers, and clowns from 1,033 faraway towns to the place that you'll see 'em in, ladies and gents, right behind Sneelock's store in the Great Gurkma tent. In the Great McGurk tents. And I don't suppose old Mr. Sneelock will mind when suddenly he has a big circus behind. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends. He might even help out doing small odds and ends. Doing little odd jobs, he could be of some aid, such as selling balloons and pink lemonade. They used to make it in an energy drink, but then they discontinued it. I was very sad. Let's get back to our story. I think 500 gallons will be about right, and then I'll be ready for opening night. This way, step right in. This way, ladies and gents. My sideshow starts here in the first of my tents. Half the great circuit, or what? When you see what goes on, you'll say no other circus is. Half is the great circus, the Circus McGurkus is. Here on stage one, from the ocean of Ulf, is a sight most amazing. A walrus named Rolf, who can stand on one whisker, and this wonderful Rolf, on top of 5 balls, 2 tennis, 3 golf. It's a marvelous trick if I say so myself. And on stage number 2, here is something quite new. From a country called From comes this drum-tummied snum who can drum any tune you might care to hum. Doesn't hurt him a bit because his drum tummy's numb. My drum tummy's numb too, except it's from cats standing on it. I have lots of cats. You might even see them today. And you'll now meet the Foon, the remarkable Foon, who eats sizzling hot pebbles that fall from the moon. And the reason he likes them red hot, it appears, is he greatly enjoys blowing smoke from his ears. Of course, pebbles like this are quite hard to collect, but Sneelock will manage, somehow, I suspect. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends, and I'm sure that he'll help out doing small odds and ends. Mr. Sneelock needs to get a union agreement in place stat. And on stage number 4, see Wiley Woo, who can throw his long tail as a sort of lasso. With a flip of the hip, with a tail of this kind, he can capture whoever is standing behind. He can capture old Sneelock. I'm sure he won't mind. Agreement. And now here is a hoodwink who winks in his wink hood. Without a good wink hood, a hoodwink can't wink good. And folks, let me tell you, there's only one circus with a wink hooded hoodwinks, the Circus McGurkus. The show of all shows, there's no other showman who shows you a show with a blindfolded bowman. The blindfolded bowman from Brigger Baroot, the world's sharpest sharpshooter. Look at him shoot. Through holes in 4 donuts, 2 hairs on a worm, and the knees of 3 birds without making them squirm. And then on through a crab apple up on the head of Sneelock, who likes to help out, as I've said. And now come to this spot where the spotlight is hot, and you'll see in the spotlight a juggling jot, who can juggle some stuff you might think he could not, such as 22 question marks, which is a lot. Also 44 commas, and also 1 dot. That's the kind of that's the kind of a circus. That's the kind of a circus McGurkus I've got. Maybe I should have picked a book with a few less rhymes. But that's just my sideshow, a start, the beginning. This way to the big tent, you'll find your head spinning. Why, ladies and gentlemen, youngsters and oldsters, your heads will quite likely spin right off your shoulders. So hurry, step lively, quick, ladies and gents, and ladies and gentlemen, and get in your seats in my tent of all tents. My parade of parade is about to commence. That's how I feel before the Pride Parade every year. You'll see Major Drum Sneelock fling flang his baton, and my organ McGurkus come on, with its hot steaming pipes of gold brass plated tin, snorting all sorts of snorts in a bumbling din that is super stupendous, stupendous, stu-roarous, and when I play Dixie, please join in the chorus. Then a muffled truffle will ride on a huffle, and next in the line a fine flummox will shuffle. The flummox will carry a lurch in a pail, and Fibble will carry the flummox's tail. While on top of the flummox, 3 harp twanging snarp will twang mighty twangs on their 3 snarper harp, while a bolster blows bloops from a 3-nozzled blueser, a nolster blows floops on a 1-nozzled noozer, and then comes a lion who's partly a trout, and then more stuff, about 45 minutes, about. 45 minutes, fling flangers, just wrap it up real quick, showbiz. And then, behind them, while everyone stares, my to and fro marchers who march in 5 layers. The fros march on the twos, and the twos march on the fros. Don't know how they do it, but that's how it goes. And now comes an act of enormous enormance. No former performers performed this performance. The stunt is too grippingly, slipperingly frightening. Down from the top of my tent like grease lightning, through pots full of lots of big sticklebush trees. Slides like a man, what a man, on his roller skate skis. He'll steer without fear, and you'll know at a glance that it's Sneelock, the man who takes chance after chance, and he won't even rip a small hole in his pants. Hawk is the star of the show. Underappreciated. I know what that's like. And now, here, in this cage, is a beast most ferocious, who's known far and wide, the spotted atrocious, who growls, howls, and yowls, the most blood-curdling sounds, and each tooth in his mouth weighs at least 60 pounds, and he chews up and eats with the greatest of ease things like carpets and sidewalks and people and trees. But the great Colonel Sneelock is just the right kind of a man who can tame him. I'm sure he won't mind. And then I'll let Sneelock off for a few minutes' rest, while high over your heads you will see the best of the world's finest, fanciest, breezy trapezing, my Zoom-a-Zoop troupe from Upper West Bendizing, who never quite know, while they zoop and they zoom, whether which will catch what one, or who will catch whom, or if who will catch which by the what and the where, or just when and just how and in which part of the What a circus! My circus McGurkus, my workers love work. They say, work us, please work us. This was definitely written. We'll work and we'll work up so many surprises, you'll never see half if you had 40 eyes. And now, again Sneelock. Brave Sneelock is back, risking life on my patented life-risking track, while the speedsters I call my colliding collusions race around in swift cars called abrasion contusions, and Sneelock just lies there, not one bit excited. I know he won't mind, he'll be simply delighted. Sneelock looks like he's having a nap. He's gonna need a nap. And here, in a contest of brute strength and muscle, Kid Sneelock, my champ of all champs, will now tussle and wrestle a beast called the Grizzly Ghastly and slap him around. Then he'll slam him down fastly and pin both his shoulders tight flat to the mat. Kid Sneelock will love it. I'm sure about that. Yeah, I would wrestle a big bear like that. And while that goes on there, look at this go on here. Have you heard of my herd of through horns jumping deer? Every deer jumps through horns of another pell-mell, while his horns are jumped through at the same time as well, by a deer whose horns are also being jumped through, by another who's having their horns jumped through too. Which I'm sure trainer Schneelock can train them to do. Then the whole tent will ring with hoorays and wild shouts, when I wheel in my whales and they turn on their spouts. First my whale number one, with an aim that aims true, spouts a spout that spouts Sneelock to whale number two. And then whale number two spouts his spout like a gun, and that spouts old Sneelock right back to whale one. And then forwards and backwards on spout after spout, my great spout rider Sneelock gets spouted about. Just as long as their water, their spouting holds out. Then my tournament of knights, noble apes without fears, Sir Hector, Sir Vector, Sir Bops, and Sir Beers, Sir Hawkins, Sir Dawkins, Sir Jocks, and Sir Jeers, clatter into the tent while everyone cheers. Stage a roust about joust with their boxing glove spears. I definitely would not want to get hit with this boxing glove spear. And while all this wild ruckusing goes on below, at the top of the tent, look! It's the star of my show! The great daredevil Sneelock, the world's bravest type. He comes pulled through the air by 3 Subrian snipe, on a dingus contraption attached to his pipe, all while people below are turning chalk white and all biting their fingernails off in their fright. Great Sneelock roars up to a terrible height. Then he shakes himself loose and starts down in a dive, such as no man on earth could come out alive. But he smiles as he falls, and no fear does he feel. His nerves are like iron, his muscles like steel. and he plunges down, down, with his hair still combed neat, 4,692 feet. Pretty sure that's the size of a mountain somewhere. Then he'll land in a fishbowl. He'll manage just fine. Don't ask how he'll manage. That's his job, not mine. That's the drag producer for you. Why, he'll be a hero. Of course he won't mind when he finds that he has a big circus behind. And that is Who If I Ran the Circus by Dr. Seuss. And that is one of my favorite books of all time.